just to get us familiar with the two different types, because having both it available in the browser and as a program adds like a second level of confusion to all of this, because there are different types of settings in both instances. And I want to kind of compare them side by side a little bit, just so that we can be familiar with whichever way might be the way that you think would be best for you to use it. So I've got the program open here, which looks darn near identical to this one over here. I just have it blown way up because I did not realize how bad my eyes were until I installed these programs.
Can you? I'm already lost, Susan. What's a program versus something else that you're referencing?
Okay, can you see my screen? Okay, Andrew.
Yeah.
Okay, so the version, you can see my browser is open here, and I'm at teams.microsoft.com. So you are able to log into Teams in the browser. On the other hand, if you would rather have it as a program on your computer, kind of like Microsoft Word, where it's downloaded and runs separate from a browser, there are more capabilities in that version of the program than there are in the web version. So here you see I'm in the browser at teams.microsoft.com, but up here in the URL bar, in the address bar, there is an icon right here that has a little TV monitor with a download button. If you're using Chrome, it shows up here. I'm not sure about Edge or anything like that. But if you click that, it will download the Microsoft Teams program to your computer. It's like this in my icon bar. So it looks very similar, but it's not taking, it's not using, I mean, it's still using Wi-Fi and that sort of thing, but it's not piggybacking off of everything else you have going on in your browser. And you get a ton more settings to deal with. Like, for example, well, I don't want to mess with those too much, but you can see along the side here, we've got a lot of similarities. You've got apps here along the side that you can reorder if you like them better in a different order. Those are drag and drop to change for your menu over there. And in the browser, you can do the same thing. So there's similarities like that, like the layout, for example. If I switch over here to chat, while I'm in a video, it'll pop that up, but you can see that you've got the same types of, it looks the same. You've just got way more options for settings and that sort of thing. Here in the browser, to do settings, you'd go to your three dots up here by your profile name or your initials. And that gives you some settings you can open up. To see a side-by-side comparison of what settings looks like in Teams, you go to the top, click Microsoft Teams, and then settings, and you've got several other that you're able to do. Breaks it down just a little bit more. One of the tough things about having both a browser and a program is that your settings do not carry over from one to the other. So it's in your best interest to pick one and stick with it. I've tried them both out. I still haven't decided which way I want to go yet. They do say the functionality in Teams is much better as a program, while accessing your email in the browser is possible. And if you really want to get down the nitty gritty of doing stuff in Outlook, you can open it in a program. But you can get to your email. If you've got your email open in your browser and the Teams program, you have all the functionality you need, pretty much. Because one thing I want to show you is the similarity between Teams and Outlook for programs. Okay, check this out. So this is what Teams looks like in chat. Down the side, you've got calendar, calls, access to OneDrive, activity, and then you can view more apps here, right? So let me open up Outlook. Oh, let me drag this over here. So if I gotta make that a bit smaller. If I drag Outlook over here, look, it's got the same ding dang things along the side, right? Instead of saying chat, calendar, calls, Teams, OneDrive, activity, you've got mail, calendar, Teams, favorites, and to do. And like you can still add different apps down here. So it's basically, you've got the same capability. You just don't have chat in your Outlook and you don't have mail in your Teams. So having both of them duplicates quite a bit of functionality. Summarizing this, like the best way to be the most efficient is to pick, I would say the best way to be most efficient with this is having the Teams downloaded. That way you've got the program that has your calendar, your calls, your Teams, your OneDrive activity, all available in an outside program, and then running your inbox instead of by Outlook. Pop this back up here. Oops, wrong one. And then having Outlook in your browser. We're used to having our Gmail in our browser anyway, right? So that's the way that I've been running it lately. Like I said, I still have both of them open both places because I'm still trying to feel this out. I want to make sure I'm able to answer questions and figure out my favorite way to do this, I guess. Does anybody have a way that they like to do it that they already know so far as their favorite? Like, have you worked in this before and are like, I'm definitely having Outlook as a program? No, Emily says she's already in love with Outlook and she's got plenty of rules already set up, and so I know that she'll be someone who really likes using the full program probably. Yes, Steve, you had your hand up?
Yeah, so you're talking about program. Are you talking about the difference of Teams using the web browser and then downloading the app?
Yeah.
Okay. And so you're saying that you have downloaded the app as well?
Yeah. I downloaded the app here.
Yeah, I
And
mean,
then
I
this
get
is
the
what it looks
query
like in my
every time I
browser.
go into it. It's like, do you want to use the app? Do you want to use the browser? And my app was registering my old email address, so I deleted it. But if you're saying it's nice and easy to use, then I can go just re-add it and use my new work email. So, okay.
Yeah. I like having the Teams, like the full Teams functionality outside of my browser. It gives me the chance to go through it once OneDrive. I mean, we don't have anything in OneDrive right now, but once that's available, we'll see this in here. Calls is going to include anybody that, i.e., calls you up or any calls you have, for example, the one we're on right now in the browser. You'll also be able to see your calendar from there as well. But I just think there's a lot of redundancy in having both of the programs because one's email and all this and the other one's chat and all this. So anyway, let's dig into this chat a little bit.
So, really quick, Susan, right now I'm using mine both in the browser, like my email and my Teams. One, I can't get into the app, which is other thing. But like, does anybody else that's using a Mac? Because I always have all of my screens like open to full screen, so I can't switch back and forth from like my browser to the app without minimizing or like making one of my windows smaller. So it was just like taking up so much time just adjusting my windows all the time. So I just have them both in the browser.
That makes sense. That's something I'll probably really enjoy if I'm working on my laptop. Because I didn't realize until, like I said a little bit ago, I didn't realize until yesterday how bad my eyes were. And I'm finding myself wanting to not work on my laptop screen as much as possible. But that's a really good point, Emily. I feel like when I've got if I have a lot of things that are open full screen, being able to switch back and forth by swiping, I enjoy that a lot. Okay, let's get into some of this team stuff. So in a chat, this has got a lot of the same options and features that Google Meet does, right? Except this one has where you can edit your text. That's something that wasn't available until Google Meet, until right there at the end there. You've got emojis, GIFs, and stickers all available for all that kind of fun. Loop is something that's like a whiteboard, basically. Or I'm sorry, Loop isn't the whiteboard. Loop is where you can collaborate with someone on coming up with messaging or a document, that kind of thing. Microsoft has so many of these tiny little programs that do one specific thing. And Loop is you and somebody else being able to work together on text. Also, if you click the plus, you can attach files. You've got delivery options like marking messages as important, which will give them like a higher priority notification or a different sound, for example. And then I don't think there's a, okay, if you message somebody already, if you've already messaged somebody, you are able to schedule a message to them. Let me see if I can do that with myself. So if I tested and sent, it might not let me do it since it's just to myself. But for example, I wanted to send Wanza yesterday a happy work anniversary message. Well, I did it this morning. Yesterday, I tried to schedule that message to send to her so I wouldn't have to remember to do it today. But it turns out after you've messaged somebody the first time and they have seen it, then you can schedule messages, which is pretty cool. So that's definitely a possibility, is to schedule messages. Over here at the top, you can see your name of the person you're talking to. Up here, you've got chat. If you hit shared, you're going to see any recent files or links or content that you guys have shared back and forth. For example, under Culture Collective, yesterday, Zach shared Family Day design for his shirts. And we got a ton of feedback for it. Over here under shared, you actually can see the file that we did share. You can upload things to this directly if you want. So if you're working with a group or working on a project with a group, you can either upload the files here, or if you shared them in the chat, you can just run over to shared and see them here. Also, we got the difference between a single person chat over here, one-on-one. Then over here, like I said, I've got this group where I added multiple people to one. You can rename the group chat. So this is everybody who's in the Culture Collective meeting last week. You can add tabs since it's a group and you're talking to multiple people. You can collaborate on OneNote. You can share YouTube links, share websites, start a whiteboard. Those types of things are available by adding a tab. Also, if you want to just call everybody and meet now, you click that and it starts a call with the Culture Collective. Bad idea, and I've already got one going. Also, you can see who's in the group and then add people over here. Also, if you're put in a group, you are sick of being in and you're like, okay, this doesn't apply to me anymore, I'm out. You can click the view and add participants over here and leave. You can also change the picture of your group over here if you so choose. Some options: you can search your chat by using Find in Chat. You can schedule a meeting directly with everybody in this group by clicking Schedule Meeting. You can share your screen with everybody at the same time. You can mark it as unread. You can pin the conversation to the top. You can mute it. You can leave, or you can delete over there on the side. Since calendar and calls and Teams, and we can tackle all that later, let's stick with the team situation that we're looking at. Let me zoom over here to what we've got here and see if there are any other options. It looks like this is pretty much the same. It doesn't look like there's anything extra to me that you're able to change or do in this program as far as chats go.
Hey, Susan, I'm sorry to interrupt. I have a question. In the chat, you know how on Google we were able to do we were able just in the chat to do a video and like send it and then everybody could join it. Can we do that? Do you know what I'm talking about?
Let me see here. I do. Oh, thank you, Meeks. Golly, she brought me coffee. Gosh darn. Let's see here. I think that is this. Let me bring up a sample here. All right, Colleen. Here we go. We'll use Colleen. So I'm sending her a message, seeing if there's a way to call her, schedule meeting, record video clip, attach file.
I don't know if it would just be the schedule meeting and like just schedule it for now.
Yeah, right up here along the side. It looks like out from the right, or out in the upper right of the chat, I'm able to use a drop down here and click either video call or audio call. Okay, and then that opens up in a different screen. Yeah, good question. Because yes, that was really helpful when you could just click it and then hit enter, and that person could click the video link too. So that's a good question. Is there anything else in chat that you guys used to be able to do that you haven't found how to do yet? Okay, let's look at some of these settings that we can do in chat. So if we're looking at starting in the browser, since that's where most of us are, we're going to click the 3 buttons up here by our profile picture. We've got settings, help, feedback, download the desktop app, or download the mobile app. You can download it from there too. So hit settings. In general, show discover in your channel list. Well, I can tell you from experience that there are not, this discover will show you teams or groups that are available to choose. Boundless has their teams and groups set up that so that if you are not in it, they are private. So if this is on, you will not see anything. So taking the discover out of your channel list is just one less of something on your screen as far as I'm concerned. So I turned that off. When I go to a channel, show recent activity. Well, just like a chat or a text message, for example, we're already used to seeing those new recent activities at the bottom anyway. So I left mine like that. If you want to set out of offices, this is a good place to do it. Schedule down here. Click schedule, turn on automatic replies, put in your out of office message. You can click to send outside of your organization or only during a time period. As far as I know, this will sync. It says your out of office will also sync with your Outlook calendar. So if you set it up here, you don't have to put it on your Outlook calendar, which is pretty cool. So you're like, okay, well, this shows that I'm out of office or not available to reply. Where does it show that? Well, up here in your upper right, you have got your profile. If you click that, it will show you here where you can change your status. Anybody who used to be on AOL Instant Messaging is getting big nostalgia right now because you can choose if you're available, busy, do not disturb, be right back, appear away. And so I think you can also set a status message right here. Like on Friday, for example, I said, welcome to Teams, Touchstone, or I put something like that. So you can set a status message. For example, if you're like at a conference and you are periodically checking your Teams messages, you can say, at PPAI, will respond when I get back to it. You can show you when people message you. And there's also, let's see, where you can schedule how long it's on. And I think if I'm not mistaken, show when people message me. That's when, there you go. Your status message will show above the compose message box when someone sends you a message. So I don't think Colleen's is doing this right now. No, Colleen has this turned off. So it does not say that she is, I think it says out of office in general in her status. Right now she's like off all the way, but she does have a status there. She just doesn't have the status message to show up when people message me. It also gives you that shortcut to schedule out of office down here, which is where we were earlier. So if you're going to be out of town, scheduling out of offices can be done in Teams. Teams. I'm going to write that down. And status or settings. Everybody still along for the ride? Are we bored yet? We still interested? We doing okay? All righty. For appearance, let's see, were we back in general, out of office? Okay, down here's an AI option. Would you like to have it show you suggested replies in the chat? It will give you a few options to pick from. Like if somebody said, hey, I just sent you over that file, that artwork file you were looking for, it might say, your options might be, okay, thank you, things like that. So I've got it show suggested replies in chat just because I want to check out all the features right now. If that's something you don't want and you're like, I know what I'm going to say, I don't need you to think for me, turn it off. For spell check, that's also available there. Okay, under appearance and accessibility, let's take a look here. So for the theme, this is as far as light and dark themes go. Some of you really like the dark theme on all your laptops. I prefer the light theme. This one follows my operating system theme. This is the default selection. I have a light theme on all of my stuff, so it's automatically light. So I've just got it left there. If you like dark, you can pick it. There's also classic and high contrast. Where am I in settings? Sold. Let's fix it. Oh, no, that's as far as it goes. If you drag this out of the way, there you go. Now click appearance and accessibility right there. Yep, we're down onto the next topic there in the menu. Okay. Another difference, there's two different chat densities. There's comfy and compact. I like mine compact. You can also choose to have message previews in your chat list. So if you pick comfy and you go over here to chat, it gives you everybody's picture, and you've got time for, or you've got room for where the last message is previewed. If you set an out of office, since it's 60 calendar, will it decline all the meetings during your out of office? Good question. Let's give it a shot. That's what we're doing here. Come on, where are my settings? Boop, settings, out of office. Turn on automatic replies. Be back tomorrow. Send only from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. on Tuesday. Oops. Save. Okay, let's go check the calendar and see what it did here. I'm going to refresh my page. Let's see if it applies to the calendar. It says it's going to. I'm going to say that's looking like a no, Emily. If I open Outlook, the program, and check my calendar, it hasn't synced in any way over there either. And bring that over. Yeah, it's not showing on my calendar here. But maybe that's something that takes a little time to transfer over. That's a good question. Okay, back into some settings. Let's see here. We're under appearance and accessibility. If I turn message previews off and go back to chat, you can see those that have disappeared here. But I still have the wider text bubbles and that sort of thing because I have the comfortable, not the cozy setting. I prefer to be able to see as much of the conversation as possible at once, so that's why I like the compact option. Sign language view. If you have someone signing in your meeting, they will appear larger on your screen throughout your meeting. Animation. You can turn off animations by turning this on. They haven't gotten in my way yet, so I'm going to leave them on. Under notifications and activity. Okay, if you are like, Teams is the least of my worries, I'll check it once or twice a day. You can mute all notifications here. Sound options are here, whether you want to play sounds with your notifications. If you're getting an urgent message and a message from a priority contact, that has a different sound. Well, it looks like it's the same sound here, but you've got plenty of sounds to pick from, like prioritize. There you go. Play sounds with incoming calls, requests to joins, and meeting start notifications. And I want sounds when I'm busy or in a meeting. Yeah, because sometimes I'm busy, but it's just time blocked off on my calendar that says I'm busy. You know, so we'll I'll leave that one on too. For display, show message and content previews in your notifications. That's up in your upper right. If you've got a Mac, I think for Windows, it might be in your lower right. But if you want content previews in those, if you just want a name, uncheck this. If you want the name and what the person's saying in the first few lines of their messages, leave that on. Show notifications during calls and meetings. If your calls and meetings you want not disturbed, you can turn that off. And then you've got show notifications on the desktop when my Teams tab is not in view. Now, I have found if I get a chat while my browser is open, the only notification I'm getting is the little badge on my chat. I don't get anything that pops up. So I definitely want this because I want some kind of notification, but it's this makes me think that there's supposed to be some other kind of notification that's not popping up. Missed activity emails. Okay, so this is something I had on that I turned off because I would get emails telling me that someone was messaging me in chat and I answered that chat like 20 minutes ago. So I turn those off because I'm going to have Teams open all the time. If Teams is something you're not going to have open all the time, like only on days when you've got meetings, then you might want to have that on just so you don't miss any. Chat message notifications show in banner. If you don't want chat message notifications, you can turn that off. Mentions. So this is like if I'm, let's see what happens when I mentioning at vegan. See if it's because it's me. Suggestion, share someone's contact info. If you share contact information, it doesn't notify that person, it says, but. Oh, let's try group chat. How about that? Zach did a great job. There we go. He's mentioned. Does he want a notification about that? Setting, that area in settings we just were in is where it's going to tell you. There we go. Show in activity and in banner. Down here in activity is kind of your notifications for all of this stuff, if you will. If you might have noticed, if you get invited to a supplier meeting by Boundless, you're going to see it in activity. If someone calls you, if someone reacts to your stuff, if you're getting invitations for events, you're going to see them all here. This is basically everything but your chat and your email is an activity. See what other kind of notifications we got here. Replies to your channel post. Do you want to see likes and reactions? I don't need these in activity. Frankly, I don't need to know every time somebody does that, I can see it in the chat. Posts in shown and pinned channels. I have that turned off because I'm not using channels right now. For meetings, do you want notified when a meeting has started? You can turn that on here or off. Meeting chat notifications. If you are not in a meeting and someone is sending a chat, do you want notifications about the chats in that meeting you're not in yet? You can choose that here. Meet now, start notifications. This makes me think, going back to Bevan's question, if you meet with someone just by calling them and they go ahead and jump in that call, does this send you notification? That's what I'm thinking that refers to. Does anybody else know? Yeah, me either. People, keep track of someone's status and get notified when they appear available or offline. I may regret setting this up. I'm now following the presence of Megan Baxter. I feel like I'm at a seance. So this will tell me when their status changes and if they appear available or offline. I can't wait to see how that works. Okay, anything else? People calendar. New invites, updates, and cancellations sent to me. Do I want them shown in activity? Yeah, probably. I'm going to leave that on for now. Anytime, like if a sales support call is canceled, you're going to get a notification here in activity that that's what's happened. When people forward meetings I've organized, I'd like to see that in my calendar. I don't think I need it, or in my activity. I don't think I need it in a banner, but just an activity is fine. That way, if I set up a meeting with Emily and she wants to invite Sarah and she forwards it to her, it's going to let me know who else will be joining. Okay, that's everything under notifications and activity. Just for curiosity's sake, let's zip over here and see what that looks like here. Chat, my Teams settings, notifications and activity. Anything different? A few things. It's got a link to your notifications and focus preferences for your Mac. Do you want to use the Teams sound or do you want the Mac OS alert sound? That's an option there if you want to change that. It looks like a lot of this is the same here though. People, calendar invites, that kind of thing. Okay, accounts and organizations is the next section in our settings. And that's just going to have where you're logged into your tmgideas.com account. Privacy is next. You can still receive notifications from people who have priority access when your status is set to Do Not Disturb. I have it set to change my status to Do Not Disturb when I'm sharing my screen. And if you look up here, you can definitely tell. It says I'm presenting. Do not disturb me. Same. So you can check that there. Manage priority access. When your status is set to Do Not Disturb, please get chats from these people. Blocked contacts. I don't think I got any blocked. Nope, nobody yet. Read receipts. If you want people, let people know when you've seen their messages and when they've seen yours. I like read receipts because then you know when somebody's read it. Now, I remember in Google Meet, if someone messaged me and I had their window up on my screen, but it wasn't selected, like if my chat was in one screen and my browser was in the other, and I was working in my browser and the chat popped up from Lindsay or somebody, it's still marked unread until I went and clicked in the area to reply to them. So I'm not sure if it reflects that you have that particular chat open or not. That's just a little tiny nuance that might affect the read time. Surveys. Do I want to participate in surveys from teams? Heck no, I've got enough to do. Extended diagnostics data. Do I want to enable the application to store a larger duration of diagnostics data for debugging purposes? No. No, get rid of all the stuff I don't need. Identify me in attendance reports. Yes, I want to identify me in attendance reports because when I look at those attendance reports, that's how I determine who to give block coin to. So don't change that. Optional connected experiences. If you want to use Giphy URL preview, stuff like that. We had a URL preview this morning. Melissa sent a YouTube link in a chat, and it previewed like the video in YouTube, and you could actually watch it inside of Teams. So that was pretty cool. So I'm gonna leave that on. Keyboard shortcut to unmute. Press and hold Option plus the space bar to temporarily unmute your mic during a meeting. So if you're in a meeting and you're muted, it used to be, I think in Google, you just hit the space and held it while you talked. And this one, it's Option for Mac anyway. I don't know if it's different for Windows, but if you hold Option and space, it'll temporarily unmute. All right, let's check out some calls. You can set up a voicemail if someone calls you in Teams. You can forward all your calls to voicemail. That's what happened in the call with Colleen that I tested. It went straight to voicemail for her. So if you want to forward them all and don't have anybody ring at all, just send it straight to voicemail. When you can't answer a call, do I want to redirect it to voicemail? No, I don't have a voicemail set up. Choose a ringtone. You can test that here if you want. You can record a custom greeting for your voicemail here if you like. At this point in history, I just assume somebody's going to text me if I don't answer. So I don't know if I'll ever set up voicemail, but it might be interesting. Language, speech to text customized greeting option. Oh, nice. That's what happens when the call is redirected to voicemail. You get to pick, let the caller record a message, be transferred to someone else, play your greeting and end the call, play greeting and then transfer the call to someone else. So some options, real specific options for voicemail actually. Next, let's check captions and transcripts. Okay, first one, automatically identify me in meeting captions and transcripts. So when I run a transcript, it's going to show, I think this is default on, so it'll show that Steve asked a question and Bevan asked a question and that sort of thing. It'll say specifically who's talking. If you don't want to be identified and don't want anybody to be able to quote what you said in a meeting, you might want to turn that off. For live captions, filter profane words in meeting captions. Heck no, that's where all the spice is. I'm gonna turn that off. I want to see if it actually types it. I'm going to leave that off. Always show live captions in meetings and calls. This is interesting. I don't need it on, but if you happen to have a call with someone, maybe whose accent you don't recognize or you don't hear very clearly to your own ear, you might want to turn that on and it'll have live captions in all your meetings and calls. That'll be interesting. Files and links. This one is where you select your preference. If you open a Word document that somebody has sent to you, do you want it to open in your browser or do you want it to open in the Teams app? Wish it would just open in Word, but that option is not there. So I left mine browser. And then app permissions. This is just a list of permissions that you have given to other apps to interact with your teams. So any questions on the settings part? Is there anything we've run into where you're like, how do I do this? Or why can't I get this to happen yet? Am I still in the call? I wonder if I've just been talking to myself for the last 40 minutes. No, we're good. We still got people. Okay. Do you guys want to explore the calendar a little bit more next?
Yes, please.
You got it. Let's move over to calendar here. Now, I want to check the difference between full screen and the calendar here. Let's get. I wish I could just get this completely off of my window, but since it's in the browser, it's not letting me move it anywhere else. Let me open the Teams over here as well and look at calendar. Looks pretty similar. I'm just able to see more of it in one screen. Okay, we'll stick with the browser since that's where we're living for the moment. Okay, so if I look, no, it's all the same. In Outlook, if I look at the calendar, it's got today and the next day large, and then the next 3 days are just a little smaller since they're a little bit further out. Just kind of gives some more visibility to the things that you've got going on for the day. So I had some meetings this week. I've got some recurring meetings that I've set up in here. Like, for example, I give myself at least half an hour before the leaders meeting, just to make sure I'm ready for that. And then a little bit of buffer afterwards. And that recurs each week. If I've got goal chats, I set up booking things for people to set up goal chats from from now on, but these are just pulled over. Okay, so if you have a meeting you want to join and all you have is the ID, you can use that here. If you want to start a call, meeting with Susan Gifford, start meeting. You can start it yourself and then add people to it, which is similar to what Bevan had when, so let me get out of here. Cancel. That's similar to when Bevan was like, I want to call somebody or right from the chat. That one's you start one yourself and then invite people. I'm sorry, I'm getting flashing that my microphone is muted. Is that you guys or is that me? Am I still coming through clear?
Yep.
Okay.
We can
Sorry,
still
it's
hear
really
you.
weird. Okay, I didn't know if anybody else could see that. It was bizarre. Okay, let's start a new meeting. So let's click new meeting. There are tons of options here available. Under the details, it's got a lot of the same details that Google Calendar had, but just in a little bit of a different place. So let's familiarize ourselves with what this looks like. So let's add a title. Actually, let's do this. Outlook exploration, add required attendees. Because I'm just going to have an online meeting set up for this and then share this with everybody through Workplace. I'm not going to add anybody right now, but just for test purposes, let's go ahead and add Melissa as well. Nice. Oh, she's in a different time zone. This is interesting. So one of the settings in Outlook has that you are in the Eastern time zone, but it has your calendar set as California. So not to deviate too far from the plan here, but I'm going to run over to Outlook and show you guys this issue because this is something a lot of people are running into. Okay, if you're over here, like it looks right? Like this, it is 1:45 here. So this looks right. However, the time zone setting is just a little bit wonky for Melissa. So Melissa, this is one thing that you'll want to do. Go to your settings in the upper right when you're in Outlook. And right here in the middle, it says, display my calendar and time zone, Eastern, please. I had a message here on Monday and a lot of other people did, or Friday, and a lot of other people did too, asking if you want to actually be reflected as being in the Pacific time zone. This doesn't make any sense. No, I don't. So I clicked either turn it off or dismiss or something like that. So Once that cleared, I stopped getting that notification that other people were in a different time zone than me. A little strange. Now, let's see, because I've left, oh, there it is. Okay, so she's actually not, but we'll show you the scheduling assistant here in a minute. So Melissa, this is going to be on Thursday. Let's see, when is a good time for me on Thursday? She's available. Book club. Myself is unavailable. I hope that's not how I put myself free at 2:30. To do. The details. Okay, let's see here. We're going to set it for 2 p.m. for an hour. And I did look up if there was any way to change the default of how long your meetings are when you're setting new meetings, and I wasn't able to find anything. I would rather have a default for an hour than 30 minutes. And I even tried the Outlook settings. I tried the team settings in the apps or the programs, and I didn't find a default event length setting anywhere. Wish I could. You can make Melissa optional, or you add optional attendees. These are ones that you don't matter. It doesn't matter what the RSVPs are for them. I don't even know if it does RSVPs if you add optional attendees. Is this going to repeat? No. Do I want to add a channel? No, because we're going to ignore channels for now. Add location? Nope. It's going to be an online meeting. So it's going to add a Teams link to this meeting. Checking out Outlook. You can add an agenda if you want. The agenda, just like Loop, remember the little Loop icon? This is where me and Melissa can work together on creating an agenda for the meeting. We can have topics, meeting notes, and tasks, that kind of thing. And the tasks do reflect back to the Tasks app, which is something I'm definitely not going to get into right now. So let's see. We've got all the details set up here. Who can bypass the lobby? The lobby is like a waiting area. I'm sure you guys have been to a Zoom meeting or webinar before where it says the host has joined the meeting. Please wait to be let in or something. There's like a lobby set up where you kind of got to wait in purgatory until they let you into the webinar. Who can bypass? You can say anybody who's come to the meeting can. It's automatically set to let people in the organization and the guests who have been invited in. If you're having a meeting with clients and you want to meet with your manager first before you let them into the meeting, you can say people in my org, and it'll notify you when you're in the meeting that there's somebody out there from outside of the organization waiting to get in, and then you can let them into the meeting at your convenience or when you'd like. Do I want to automatically record and transcribe? Yes. More options. What else? Goodness, there's lots of options. Who can bypass? Enable a green room, that's turned off. That's like if you're having a guest speaker or something, for example, they've got time to wait there with like a CFO or a CEO to chat before the actual presentation starts. Same thing as a lobby. Do I want to allow mic for attendees? Yes. Camera for attendees? Yes. Engagement. Do I want chat on? Allow reactions? You can choose co-organizers if you want. You can limit it to who is presenting. Okay, there's just a few more options here that I want to check out. So at the top, we have show as busy. If, for example, you need to set up focus time for yourself and you're like, okay, tentatively, I'm going to be working on this project during this time, but I'm still going to be available to meet if someone needs to meet or set up a meeting for us during that time. So I can set it as tentative. It's going to show as tentative, which means people can schedule a meeting during that time. If it's free, if it's like focus time, but or free might be something your kid is doing, for example, like my daughter has art class from 4 to 5:30, but you want to put it on your calendar, show as free. That way it shows that you're not going to that, for example. And then you can set up an out of office through here as well. You can also, I think everybody's calendar defaults to just show everybody else that you've got busy going on during these time sections. If you look at my calendar, I'm pretty sure it just says busy all over everything. You can change the privacy of that. Like if you want to, if someone's looking at your calendar and you want to be able to show or tell them what you're doing during a specific amount of time and that's not hidden, you can change it there as well. Category is for those who have hyper organization in place. I certainly don't. Time zone, what time zone? That'll be response options. Do you want them to respond for sure? Are you going to allow them to forward this meeting and invite someone else potentially? Does someone need to register for this event that you're setting up? And the options are just here on the side. So once we're all done, say I'm looking for a time for me and Melissa to meet, I'll go over to a scheduling assistant and I think you can just scroll. Yeah, you can scroll here and try to find a better time. Not working Saturday. I got something going on every other day here, don't I? There we go. Wednesday, October 9th, 8 a.m. Check, check. That'd be a good place for us to meet. You could add other people here. For example, if you want to see, okay, well, I want these two people here, but is Tender going to be in the office at the same time? You can add her calendar to reflect whether or not she's going to be around and whether or not you could pull her into the meeting potentially at the same time. Okay, I've got this set up. I'm going to hit send. And that puts Outlook Exploration right here at Thursday at 2 p.m. Now, I have found it to be a little bit difficult to share a link for a Teams meeting. Like you can invite somebody to the meeting, but if I want to take this link and put it on Workplace, for example, I had a little bit of trouble with that. And it's going to backfire when it gives me this option right here that Ryan and I dug around for yesterday and couldn't find. If you click the event that's upcoming, you can copy the link right here. Why could I not find that yesterday? It's because all of you are here looking at me. That's why. You can chat with the participants just like you could on Google Meet and your calendar there, which was really nice to be able to do. Like if I want to chat with Melissa about what we're going to cover during that time, for example, I can click here and start a conversation. Also, when the time comes for that meeting, I can just hit join. Pretty handy, pretty handy. Let's see. Let's check on the out of office situation. And then we'll see if there's any other questions we all need to, that maybe we can collaborate on. So the 8th, not that's 6 a.m. Close enough. So as out of office for the 18th. Bridge day, out of office, all day on the 18th. It's going to show as free. No, show it out of office. There we go. Save. It doesn't ask me anywhere if I want to reject all meetings that I had set that day. So maybe that's something we can explore. Well, what do you guys think? Do you have any questions? Have I just made this worse by opening up all these opportunities for preference setting and any of that kind of thing?
No, thank you so much for taking the time to go through all of this. I think that we're probably all having our heads spin a little bit. So this is really
yeah. I feel like just guiding somebody else through it helps me a lot too. So I felt like if somebody just wanted to kind of tag along while I explored what I could in the settings and that kind of thing, that it might be a little helpful for you guys. So if I had any action items, check your time zone settings in Outlook to make sure that it's not trying to put you in the Pacific time zone. That's one thing I would check. And then Adam and Katie, if you guys want to try logging out of your Word and Excel and logging back in and then restarting your computer, maybe that'll verify you and allow you to log into Teams.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah. Well, I will post the Outlook session for Thursday so that you guys can join me as we poke around in Outlook as well. Try to get a little bit more familiar with that. Try not to hate it so much, right?
Thanks, Susan.
Yeah, you're welcome. Let me know if you guys have any questions. I've heard lots of questions and lots of feedback, so I'm starting to get quite a little knowledge base on this stuff here. So let me know if you need some help, okay? Happy to.